Welcome to episode number 6. Back in my industry configuration spreadsheet, I pulled out the PHX cars for the Phoenix ACE interchange because we're not going to worry about those for now. So we've got our 3 industries that we just configured, and I need to open up my map, and we're going to utilize the map and we're going to utilize this spreadsheet. All right, now with my spreadsheet open and my map open, I can see that the first stop is going to be up there, the Newberry Ballast Pit, because we can get in there and get out easily, do our switching. And then next is going to be Reox, because again, we can get through there real quick and make those. That's going to be really easy. So over here in my spreadsheet, I'm going to go to Newberry Ballast Pit, and that's going to be industry stop number 1. And I got to put 2 number 1s because one line is for the ballast top. Oh, no, I got to fix that. Because remember, so this was what was in the industry configuration inside of Run 8 that we downloaded from the depot. But in the order builder, which has what we're working with, it didn't have ballast hoppers. It just had the open rock hoppers. So I need to click this and get this out of here. So now we got our open hopper, which is the rock. And I can even come in here and just type rock in there, for reference. The max cars we set to 25. So I'll just put that in there for a little note because I like to save it there in case something happens. I have a record. So the Newberry Ballast Pit is going to be our first industry stop. But as far as a build sequence, I actually want these rock cars to be on the back of the train because I'm going to leave them at the industry and pick them up on our way back so that I don't have to carry them all the way to the far industry. So I'm going to put 3 for the build sequence. So they're the third industry on this train. Next is going to be Reox. So I could put a 2 for industry stop there. That's going to be our second stop. And that one I want to be actually first on the train when we get there. So that one is going to be number 1 for the build sequence. And then the final one is Tetra Technologies. So that's going to be our third stop. And we do have 2. We got acid tankers and tank cars. So I need to put 2 number 3s here, both for Tetra. This is the third stop. And then the build sequence, in this case, I can do do I want the acid tank cars first or just the regular tank cars? I want to look at the depot website and go under yard and customer tags, Southern California, LCal 1161, and I want to see if Tetra, so there's there is a photo. All right, so they've got acid tank cars in the rear and then the regular ones in front of them. So I don't know if it's critical, but we could say that it is and go with it. So in this case, we got to go to our map page here, page 3. So there's Tetra, so it's trailing point. So that's fine. We're going to be coming in from the west here, heading east, and we're going to get here. We're going to pull in and then back them in. So those are going to be second in line. And when we get there, they're actually going to be on the back of the train because we're going to leave the rock hoppers back at Newberry. So for a build sequence, I want the acid tank cars because they were in the back. So I'm going to put this as 3. And then this is going to be, the regular ones are going to be number 2 in the sequence. And that means I got to change Newberry to number 4 in the sequence. And you're going to see how this works later on. So we got that'll be the third stop. And then after Tetra, we're going to have to run around the train in this siding, which 2,870 feet. Yeah, that should be long enough. And then head back to Newberry Ballast Pit where we will pick up we'll have to cross over here at Troy. And then we'll pick up the rock cars that we left. And then we'll head back to Barstow Yard. Oh, back in here, I need to put this in. So Reox, we had 7 covered hoppers. And then for both of these, for Tetra, we had 5 max. All right, so we're ready to go here. So now I've got my order builder back open, and I'm going to hit Generate Train. And I can pick the local job we just did, the LCal 1161. and I can expand it. And oh, it looks like they do have Hillbros in here. Newberry, Ballast Pit, Reox, and Tetra. All right, so Hillbros wasn't in the game, but it is in here. So maybe we should do that one. Back on the map here, we go down Hillbros. All right, so Hillbros Chemicals is right here at West Amboy. Oh, but that is a facing point on our way in. So that one's going to have to be switched out on the way back. So if we're going to add in Hillbros Chemicals, let's get our spreadsheet open. I'm going to insert a row here right above Newberry Ballast Pit, and I'm going to put in Hillbros Chemicals. So I'm back in the Manage Customers, and I'm going to check out Hillbros Chemical, HBC, and it's got an order for 3 loaded tank cars. So over here I could put tank car, max is 3, and now we got to incorporate this into our train. So our first stop is still Newberry and then Reox, and then we're going to go to Tetra next. We're going to run around the train, and on our way back, we're going to switch out Hillbros Chemicals because it's facing the other way. So we can only do it on our way home. So I want that to be at the end of the train. So our industry stop, that's going to be number 4. Hillbros Chemical is going to be the final stop. Now I can sort the smallest to largest. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So our last stop is Hillbros, but in our build sequence, when we run around the train at Tetra, then I want Hillbros to be right next to the engines, right next to the locomotives. So at Tetra, we're going to have the stuff for TET and the stuff for Reox. We're going to have those cars as well. So I actually want Hillbros to be after those. So there's Reox, then Tetra. I want Hillbros to be 4th on the train. And that's going to make Newberry 5th on the train. That's going to be last when we start. So when we leave the yard, if I sort these by build sequence, right behind the locomotive, we're going to have Reox, Tetra, then Hillbros, and then Newberry Ballast Pit last. Because we're going to work Newberry Ballast Pit first, as you can see here, number 1 at industry stop. But I want it at the end of the train for when we do the switching there, because we're going to leave them there for the way back. So now Hillbros is going to be in the 4th spot. We're going to do our other switches at Tetra and Reox. And then when I get to Hillbros on our return trip, because we ran around the train, Hillbros, which was 4th, is now going to be, the train's going to go around the other side and the locomotives will be down here. So Hillbros will be right next to the locomotives, which is what I want when I go to switch out Hillbros. And then we'll return to Newberry and then return to Barstow Yard. Now, Hillbros is not in Run 8 right now in the industry configuration in here. If I go to the H's, there's no Hillbros. So we got 2 options. We can either leave it out and we could still work that industry, but right now I don't know, I can't get to it. I can't find it in here and hit transport because it's not in here. So I really have no way of quickly getting to wherever Hillbros Chemicals is. So to figure it out, I'm going to open up the map, find Hillbros there, and it's right next to West Amboy. So back in Run 8, I can open up the dispatch screen with F3, find West Amboy, which is right here. I'm going to hover over, so if I hover over a block or the switch, and then you hit the teleport key, which I changed on mine, I'm now teleported. I could hit M to turn on my milepost tags, and here it is right there. It's right there, see? So there's Hillbros, but if I turn on the industry tags they're on, no tags pop up because this industry is not in there. So we're going to add it really quick so that I can easily teleport here in the future if needed. So I'm going to hit F9. I'm going to hit New Industry, and then I'm going to type in Hillbros Chemicals. Tracks are assigned HBC. I'll copy the local freight symbol out of here. And then I have to pick, oh, it does say add, because I haven't assigned tracks yet either. let's see, add this industry, but I can't click it. And the reason is because I have to assign tracks and I have to pick at least one car in here. So it was tank cars. So I'm just going to put in here Barstow Yard. But remember, we're not even using this right now because we're using Order Builder. So I don't even need to worry about any of these settings over here. I just want to make sure I got the freight symbol. Even that doesn't really matter, but it'll help if I have to do a quick search inside of Run 8. This doesn't really even matter. You have to have it filled in. We need this stuff there so that I can add the tracks and save it into the config. So now I'm going to hit Edit Tracks. And then over here, when I hover over, I'm not clicking anything yet. It's just hovering. Now I'll click, and you see how they turn yellow? Now they stay in there. And then I can click these, but I don't need to click those as long as we got those in there. Now, I don't want to go up here and hit Save because I could accidentally, if I had my angle wrong, see how it's selecting those tracks? You might go to hit Save, and these tracks might be behind the Save button depending on your camera angle. And you click it, but accidentally assign tracks here. I've seen it done. So what I do is I hit Escape, closes that window, then I open it again, and then now I hit Save. Oh, wait, I got to go add this industry. Okay, so now it's in there. See how this now says Hillbros Chemicals? Now the industry is in there. Now I can hit Save, and then it says Industry Configuration Saved. So if I hit Escape and turn on the industry tags, there's my tracks and HBC right there. And I can turn those back off. And now I can just go somewhere else on the map, open this up. Here's Hillbros Chemicals, hit Transport, and it's going to put me right there because we got these tracks tagged. So now we're all set. Hillbros Chemicals is in the industry config, so I can easily find it. Let's go back to Barstow Yard. So I'm back at Barstow Yard, the receiving yard, and let's go to, actually the local trains, according to the map, the local trains work out of this little yard here. So I'm assuming that this is where they start. So I'll position myself here, and I'm going to go back to the order builder. And now I want to go to, oh wait, let's go back. I just want to double check Hillbros Chemicals looks good in here. 3 loaded tank cars. I can take a look real quick here just to see which ones. It's got the UTLX on the bottom. That looks good. Gadix 02. Oh, actually, I want to change that. So I don't want this blue one. I don't know if I like the look, and so let's change that. So all I got to do is click here, hit Edit, go down to Tank Cars, expand the arrow. I can bring this up so I can see them all. And I'm going to uncheck this one. Oh, no, I'm right. Okay. I'm going to uncheck this 107 Gadix 02. And I'm going to replace it with the, let's see, it's also got UTLX white down here. That's fine. And it's got the 107 Procore 02, which is this one. So let's throw in, let's do a UTLX black. And then I'll hit save. And we're all set. And you can see how easy this is to have all this stuff open, Order Builder, this PDF, and Run 8, and I don't need to go into the menu in Run 8 to make any of these changes because we're doing it all externally in the Order Builder. So now I'm going to go to Generate Train in the Order Builder, and I'm going to look for the LCal 1161, click that, and if I expand it, all the industries are checked, and that's good. We want all of them. If I didn't want to work one of them, I could just uncheck Hillbros or both Hillbros and Reax. If on this train I'm going to create, I only wanted the 2, but I want all 4. So I'm going to leave them all checked. And then under the train stats estimator, I've got 70, it's set to 70%. So let me go back to settings. So here's where those settings are here. Car generation probability. Oh, and that, I had it, or this one's on 50. So that's interesting. I wonder if that's an issue. Generate train because right now it's saying 70%. Let me see if I go to settings and change this to 30%, hit save, generate train. So that might be an issue with this is the unstable version. So that might be an issue because that should change when I change it in the settings here. If I go back to, let's say 60%. So this is basically just deciding the percentage of the max cars for usual number of cars. So like if I had a max of 20 and I put this at 50, then it's going to generate 10 because it's half the max of 20. And then variability is 20%. So it's going to be probably around 8 to 10. But if I want to be typically more like closer to my max numbers I had in my settings configuration for those industries, I'd put it up higher. But I'll just put it at 60, save it. But I think we got an issue here because it's just defaulting to 70 and not changing. So that might need to be fixed. But that's fine for this case. Then under car sorting, I want to do block by customer because I'm just going to I'm not going to run this over the hump. I'm just going to create this train. So I'll do block by customer. That's the best, most organized. Then second best is block by order, and then random is going to be chaos. So I'm going to do block by customer. And then for my car tags, when this is created, I don't just want the industry ID, which is the 3 letters. I want to have this prefix with the routing tag. So it's going to give the ID, but before it, it's going to have that routing tag, which was 1161. I think it was BAR space 1161, and then it's going to have the industry name. And that's it. So now I can hit generate train. No orders selected in the, because I went back in. So I got to recheck this LCAL 1160. Oh, that's still saying 70. So yeah, I think there's still something wrong up there. But now that I've checked it, you can see that it says the length is going to be between 705 feet and 2,386. That's with the 70% chance. So, and then the weight, 850 to 3,500 tons, and then somewhere between 14 to 45 cars. And then the one we did for Newberry, where I overwrote this estimator setting, and I put it at 20 with a 20% variable. So that's should overwrite this, and we should get closer to 20. Now, this setting, you have to exit out of here to get to it because I can't just click settings. So I'd have to close this to change this estimator. I kind of feel like those sliders should be in here under, like right above here. If this was a little bit bigger, and then they could be here. So I can move the slider and it can change it as I'm looking at these numbers. Because the way it looks right now, I would have to close this, go back to settings, change this percentage, come back in here, and then see what these numbers say. Because if I go back here to settings, yeah, it doesn't tell me like the length. I don't know the length of the train. Did 1.2, let me just check this real quick. I just want to check real quick. Did 1.2.3, the stable version, do that? If I go to settings, it's still there. The sliders are still there. And if I go to generate train, that's still showing 70%. Even though, okay. So even that version's the same. Let me go to the version 1.1.2, see what that looked like. So this is the older version. There was no probability in there, and then generate train. Yeah. So it was a little bit different, but I think this is better having it in here. So you could change it on the fly if I checked LCAL 1161. And then this is different because this is an older version. So it's that percentage. But I like having the sliders on this page so I can slide it and then immediately see the results of what this train is going to look like rather than having to go back and forth. Okay, so I'm back. I'm going to go to generate train. We're just going to work with this for now as is 11 LCal 1161 and then blocked by customer. And then I want to do this prefix with routing tag and we're all set. So I can hit generate train and now it pops this up and I'm in my Southern California trains folder already. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh, look at that. It's already titled LCal 1161. So that's fine. I'm just going to leave it as that. Actually, what I will do is I'm going to put local space and then LCal. So now when I save it, so now I can close the order builder. I can open up my trains folder. And if I scroll down to local, so this would keep all the locals together where I just missed it. There it is, local, LCal 1161. So that's going to keep the local job files together. I might, come up with a better idea later, but we'll leave it for now. The next step, because I need to get this train ordered, blocked correctly in the right order. So what I'm going to do is I've got the external consist editor 10 open, and I'll have a link in the description on where to download it. This is also a must-have if you're playing Run 8. I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm in Southern California. I'm going to find that train file. And one of the nice things here, you'll see there's a lot less when I'm scrolling through here. That's because, oh no, it's not. So it is including all of the extra board. I wonder if that can be somehow filtered out because it's got trains in here, but it's also got the extra board saves when you're looking for your train file in the folder. So there's just a little bit more clutter, but I'm not sure there might not be a way for the external consist editor to only show a train file because they're all XMLs. So I don't know, but here's the local LCal 1161 that I created with the order builder. I'm going to open it in the external consist editor. And here's what we're working with. But it's not in the right order. They're blocked by the order. So you can see everything for Newberry is here. Reox, here's the hoppers. TET, look at that. The tank cars are separated from the acids to and you go like corrosive substance. If I hover, look at that. It shows you the tag that's on there, what it looks like. Just beautiful. If I hover over this here, tank, it shows me what the car looks like. So that's all in there, but the order is not right. And one other thing I want to point out is if I go to Open Hopper here and I select all of them, everything for new, and down here, look what we got. Selected, I've got, look at this, 18 cars. And here's the tons and the weight, or the length, the weight and the length. But we've got 18 cars right here for new. And that's what was spawned or created in this train using Order Builder. And the reason is because I had overwritten the general probability and set it to usual number of cars 20 with a variability of 20%. And sure enough, it gave us 18. Beautiful. So all I got to do now is the next step to get this train ready is I need to reorder these in the sequence that we got up here that we created in the spreadsheet. And I put it in the spreadsheet. So if in the future, every time I work this local, I can reference that spreadsheet and I can create the train how I want. Or I might even just, or I can make sure I could utilize that just to make sure that I've got the cars in order in the consist editor before spawning the train. Or what I'm going to show you in a later video is if I am sorting cars over the hump yard and manually working the trim job and building trains with locomotives. So if I'm working the trim job and I'm doing it manually, I'll utilize the spreadsheet so that I know how to build the train as well. So now all I need to do is just drag these cars in the right order. So I have them sorted by build sequence here, which makes it real easy. So I could just look now and say, all right, Reox needs to be up front. And actually, before I do that, let's just drop 2 locomotives in. So let's get some SD40s. Let's do a BNSF 01. And let's do a we'll do this patched Santa Fe. And I'll put this one, I'll right click it to make it go in reverse. And then for tags, I'm just going to actually grab the symbol out of here, copy it, come back in here, double click, paste it. All right, so now we got our local symbol in there on the locomotives. And now I'll reorder these. So up here we got Reox is first in the build sequence. So I need these C14 hoppers. We got, it looks like there's 4 of them for RHE. And I'm going to drag, all right, so I'm going to drag these up to the top. And I just thought of, I want to point out, you see how these cars are tagged? Let me move this out of the way a little bit. See how these cars are tagged? So here's the RHEs, and it says BAR 1161 RHE. If I pop up the order builder real quick and go to Manage Customers RHE, you can see here, there, okay. So here's Reox, and here's that routing tag, BAR 1161. So you see it right here in the consist editor, BAR 1161. So that's where that comes from, under routing tag. And that's what I want. I want it to say BAR so I know what train yard it comes out of, and then the local job. And under generate train, that's what this was talking about here. So if I click this, it prefixes, puts the routing tag, which we just looked at first, which was that BAR 1161, and then it has the industry ID, RHE, after. Okay, so now I just got to continue getting these in the right order. So next is the Tetra TET regular tank cars, which is these, after RHE. Then number 3 is the acid tankers, and you can tell easily that they're acid with corrosive because they got the corrosive there, and the text is red, letting you know that there's a placard on there. Number 4 is Hillbros Chemicals, HBC, so they're already in the right spot. And then the last one is Newberry Ballast Pit, and that's now in the right spot. I'm also going to just randomize the order so you can see the whole thing. They're all facing forward, all the freight cars. I'm going to select them all by holding Shift, first clicking the first one, holding Shift, then clicking the last one. So all the freight cars are selected. I'm going to click Consist Modifiers, and it lets you know here that you're modifying just the one selected. And I'm going to do random reverse. I don't want to do load or empty or shuffle, because that's going to mix them all up. Load or empty will change. That's correct now. I don't want to hit that, but I just want to hit random reverse. And then you can see it's just changed all these arrows randomly. So it's just the way they look when they spawn in, they're going to be flipped. And let's see, it looks like we've got horsepower per ton of 2.9, so that should be plenty. I think we're ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to go back up to File, and see the asterisk? That means it's got unsaved changes. I'm going to hit Save, and now it's saved as that same file name. It just overwrote it. Although I didn't get which is fine, but I didn't get, usually I think you get a pop-up when you save it that says like train successfully saved. So maybe that's just not a thing in the new ECE 10.0. But that's it. So I should be able to clear this out of here, and I will, and then I'll go File, Open, and I should also be able to do ECE most recent. So I could scroll down here and find that same file, local LCAL 1161, but because we just worked on it, if I open up this one at the top, ECE most recent, you can see it's the same file that we just did. So that's a nice feature too of the consist editor, is it actually saves it there and in this file name you saved. So if you need to open it right away again, it's up there at the very top of the list. Back in run 8, I'm just going to drop this train in. So I'm going to hit F1, go to trains, and again, I could do ECE most recent because it's the same thing. And look at this. It gives you all the detail, but I'm going to just go down to this one. Same thing though. It's the same train. This, if I made a new train in consist editor, this ECE most recent would get overwritten. So then it wouldn't be the same, the LCAL 1161. So I'm just going to click this one and built with order builder. Here's the train symbol. It's a 2x0, 12 loads, 18 empties, 2,000 tons length. We got everything we need here. So I'm not going to hit spawn. I'm just going to hit load into consist editor. It brings it in here, and then all I have to do is hit place train, and we'll put it on this far track, and that's it. I'll hit escape because I see how it's still like I can drop a bunch in, but to get out of there, I'll just hit escape. And let's take a look at our train. So if I click it, oh, I got to relinquish. I must be in charge of another car. Relinquish. Okay, now I can click it, and there's our symbol that we got set up. It's all tagged beautifully. The cars are in the right order, how we wanted. And they're full and empty based on how we set it up. Oh, you know what? I didn't add any cars for pickup at Hillbros, but that's fine. And did I do cars at, I don't know if I added any cars to TET either, but that's okay. We'll just roll with it as is. I did put some pickups for RHE and Newberry. Maybe I'll go back here off camera and just add a couple into those other two, so it's more fun when we work this local. But anyways, there's our train, and it's ready to go. In the process, we also made sure that the industry, this local job industries, were configured with the freight cars that we want. We made a couple minor changes. And that's where, again, it's totally up to you on how you want to configure things. Some people want to try to make it ultra realistic, and that's, I think, what the depot does. For me, I'll start with that, but I've found that it's more fun for me personally just to be creative, make it look and feel the way I want, and play as I get the map more populated. I put myself in the mindset of, if I were in charge of this railroad, how would I run it the most efficiently? And I'm always trying to I'll make mistakes, and I'm always trying to improve and keep notes and just try to make it better and better, run it more efficiently and better every time. And that's a kind of fun challenge. So this train is ready to go and start switching out those industries. And you can see here how easy it is by utilizing the order builder and the external consist editor and all the configs that I showed you how to do it, and the maps, the depot's very handy maps to figure out where you're going. And what I just walked you through is exactly how I do it when I'm doing my local job series that I've done in the past here, my videos. Before I do one of these local jobs, I do exactly what I just showed you, those steps. Now, stuff like the LS917J on I think that was the Arvin branch, there were like 10 or 15 industries. I mean, that was really complex. That took a long time. Not terrible, but much longer than this, because this was 3 simple industries to do. And those big ones take a lot longer as well to mentally plan out the route and the industry stops and the build sequence, because I got to visualize it all in my head and then put it on that spreadsheet. But I wanted to show you just how quickly, if you're playing here in single player and you want to try a local job, this is how quickly you can do it and get the train ready to go. Now, in probably the next episode or a future episode here, I'll show you how to kind of do the same thing we just did, but in a way where you can send the train into the Barstow receiving yard, run it over the hump, have it sorted, and then build the train manually onto this track so that we get to this result we're at now, and then you go work the local job. But instead of just dropping it into this track, you would do all those steps I just listed, more realistic. And that's totally up to you if you want to do it that way or not. It's just another option. Some people love it. Some people would prefer to just jump right in here and go from here. And that wraps up episode number 6. So stay tuned because we got a lot more to do.